allows me to do all those things. Okay, it says it's setting up the meeting. What is it doing here? All right. Okay, it says we're streaming live.
Right.
All right. We got 2 minutes and counting. There we go.
There we go. All right, little tweeting happening.
Oh, yeah. There are 3 people watching us, or maybe it's me and you. Me and you. Okay. Yeah. Hey, we're live. We are live.
Oh, we're live. We have some folks
are,
who actually decided to get involved.
We are in fact live, and we're ready. Okay, we got 2 minutes. Look at that. Mm-hmm. I'm so proud of you.
This is a little bit more prepped than our tweet and eat.
Listen, that was fun. Tweet and eat was fun.
It was.
Snacking and tweeting each other. That was fun. Hey, Teresa. Hi, Carmen. Hi, Christina. Hey, Christina.
We have people.
Look at that. Oh, hey, Nika. Look at that. We have people. Look, it's working, Carmen. First challenge was the technology. And so we got through that.
Once we get over old lady using technology, it's all good.
And slow internet, but internet is allowing us to be great. So I feel really good about this. I feel really good. Oh, we have 1 minute and counting.
Excellent. I'm ready.
Yay. Oh, Jen says hi.
Tell Jen I said hello. In Canada.
Chatting me in a whole nother device. Like, I can't do both. Okay, top of the hour. Look alive, everyone. Look alive. We're ready to start. Hello. I'm Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Success Bully. Success Bully is an elite accountability practice, so that makes me your personal, professional butt kicker. I am so excited to be here with the amazing Carmen Hudson. And so before I hand it over to the amazing Carmen Hudson, a little bit about Success Bully. I don't know. I think we've been kind of following along. Success Bully is a coaching practice, essentially. I like to work with high-performing type A's that are stuck and really help them take their great to greater. So if you have a passion project or a goal that you've been thinking about for a while and you have so many reasons to not get started, or you start and you stop, you are my perfect client. And so not only Carmen is a friend, a mentor, a sister in arms, she's also one of my favorite clients. And so with that, I want to turn it over to Carmen to make her formal introduction. So hello, Carmen. Introduce yourself to all the wonderful people, the 6 wonderful people tuning in.
The 6 wonderful people are indeed wonderful people and very valuable. I'm glad that they're here. So Carmen Hudson, for any of the 6 who may not know me, I'm pretty sure I probably know all 6. But I do a lot of different things, which is why Successability has been so helpful for me. So I have a day job where I'm a consultant and I work primarily in the recruiting industry. And so I used to flit all over the world and train people in interviewing and recruiting. And now I do it from right here, all over the world, to people all over the world. Great clients, great work that I really love, but I also have just an entrepreneurial spirit, so I'm always working on something else. And so one of my pet projects these days is a website / I would just start to call it community platform called Recruiter Hunt, built for recruiters. It includes a website, a Chrome extension, a weekly newsletter, social media, so a whole platform that I've built and staying focused on that. And then of course I always have at least 5 or 6 ideas brewing in the back of my head, and one I'm sort of thinking about now, and we can get into that. And I live in Seattle, and Keita and I are both Northwestern Wildcats.
So we have the best how we met story. So I saw Carmen speak at an event, and I was like, magical chocolate woman that I must be friends with. Couldn't get over to her, but I saw her at the front of the room doing the dazzly stuff she does, and I was like, I want to be her friend. She don't know I want to be her friend. And then we ended up at a day-long workshop on writing op-eds. And
Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon, we committed to a whole Saturday to learn how to write contributed pieces and op-eds. And the room was really hot. It was like bad
Well,
air
because it was a
conditioning.
beautiful day outside.
It was a beautiful day, but no one could figure out the air conditioning. And so we eventually, got out of that hot room, and I kind of get closer to it. I was so weird and awkward about it. I kept kind of trying to get closer, trying to get closer. Then come to find out, we strike up a conversation and find out we're both Northwestern alums, that we have so much in common. We lived in the same dorm at different times. And so it's been a magical connection ever since, and I am so grateful to be in your orbit. So thank you for allowing me into your power network.
Thank you for inviting me into the world of Successfully. It has truly been a blessing this year and has helped me to get this project to the state that it's in, which I am excited about. So we were fated to meet.
Oh yeah, destined, ships crossing in the night. Okay,
Yes.
So what's really interesting, this is a great segue because you were talking about always having these multiple ideas that you're working on. And I know we have a running joke about how being brilliant is a double-edged sword, that you never run out of ideas, that you always have something cooking. So like, how do you narrow your focus? What are some of your tips for our brilliant folks out there who always have some great idea going on?
Well, you introduced me to the idea of this magical notebook where you stash all your ideas, so you never forget them. They never go away. So I have that for my brilliant ideas that are more than fleeting things. Like some of them are truly brilliant, and some of them I know, you know what, Carmen, you are never going to invent the magic carpet / food delivery service. Put that one away, right? But I have these thoughts, and others are much more practical and grounded. And if I were to put some effort into it, maybe it's something that I could do. Some of them are just ideas for books or articles. So it's really great to have a place to stash that. And that is a trick that I learned from you. And you don't feel as if like I'll forget it or I'll never return to it. And the truth of the matter is, I need focus. I can't work on too many ideas at once. Otherwise, nothing gets done. I am a scattered brain. I love the internet. I can get lost deep inside the internet. Within 5 minutes, I will have gone to places that no one ever knew existed. So I have to rein myself in, and focusing on one or two things at a time is about my maximum, right? And so this past year, I've truly learned that. And that gets me from point A to point B. And I have to be careful because I get bored. The other thing is I really, sometimes, want to do something else. And so give myself room to play and explore, but know that right now my focus is A and B.
Oh yeah, and we call that the World Domination Notebook.
The World Domination Notebook. I didn't decorate mine though. I was supposed
Mine's bedazzled. I promise, I have a great idea at least once a day. There's at least one. Some of them are real gems, and I know it's a multi-million-dollar idea. It's just not something that I can do right now.
Right. That's it, right?
And like that is something that we talk about quite a bit, about having that high impact focus goal that creates a ripple effect. When you get that one really going and you really get the momentum behind it, it impacts every other area of your life. And so then I want to talk a little bit about Recruiter Hunt. And so like, what kind of prompted that? What was your aha moment there, and where do you see it growing to?
It's interesting. So I have been working on this idea probably since the late 90s. I kid you not. And some version of this, I've always had some version of this. And essentially, as a recruiter, there are all these websites and tools and things that can be helpful to you. And I always had this growing list, but people will always want me to share, or I might train and share something about it. And then I'd share the list, and then the list would be obsolete a week later. And so I've tried all these different formats for sharing it until finally I just decided time to just build my own thing. And so I had a couple of false starts there, finally got it built, found a great contractor to partner with to build the website. And then what's grown around that is a community. So out of that, I built a Chrome extension, which is sort of a new tab page Chrome extension. And so that is, that actually gets people more involved and engaged with the content. And then I have a weekly newsletter. I try to avoid the weekly newsletter community piece for the longest time until finally I just accepted this is a part of it. Like this
Mhm.
kind of weekly recap is really the cement that will glue the community together. And once I kind of figured out a format that allowed me to easily produce it at the end of every week, it's
Mhm.
been great. I actually love seeing it grow, and it is the basis for I think how I might monetize this. So that's what I've done over the last year, and it's grown. And we have, we've got 300 downloads of the Chrome extension. We've got, I think, close to 1,400 people subscribed to the newsletter. It's growing at about 100 subscribers a month, which is fascinating to me. And I am, slowly but surely figuring out new ways of driving engagement and traction and getting people engaged and trying new things. And it's been a learning experience for me to build really a community around this idea of sharing tools. So that's what I've been doing.
That's so cool. It's so cool. And it's really interesting the arrival point that there are
Yeah.
multiple iterations and now you're at this place of arrival and building the community around it. And like the community piece, that's the piece that takes the most consistency.
It does.
Like you build a community, you got to show up for said community.
Every day, every week, right?
So that's very exciting. I'm
And it
really
is every day, every week. And, you figure out how to get additional resources to help me do that. I got resources to help me build the actual website and the application. I also need resources to help me with the daily community update and engagement. And so that was one of my big ahas, like get help.
so that's 2 points I want to double down on with my press on nails. Well,
I
there's
like those press-ons. I'm not sure
listen, I'm never
anyone
going
about
back to the nail
nails.
shop. Never going back to the nail shop. The part of simplicity that when
Yes.
building I was never into the newsletter, but if you find a simple way of doing things, that makes it a lot easier to keep up with it. And I think when we get started on an idea, we want it to have all the bells and whistles and the dangles and the symbols and all that stuff, when really that's not what people are asking us for. They want the information on a consistent
They're not.
basis. They're not they're
Yeah, my
they're not
newsletter
asking
is a
what we
recap.
think it should look like.
No, it's a simple text recap of the tools that I shared throughout the week. And that's what people want. And a few articles that I find interesting. And because I track very closely, what are people actually clicking on? What are they actually
Mhm.
reading? And they just want to know about what's new out there. So, okay, I can deliver that.
Give the people what they want.
Exactly. My content person, Adrienne, I don't know if she's listening, but she's awesome.
Hi, Adrian.
And she just keeps this going and keeps rolling, and we keep discovering new things, and people, they really want this information, and I get to be the centralized place where they can come and find it. So
That's
I
so cool.
very
And then
much enjoy
the
it.
other piece I want to double down about that is the outsourcing. The
Yeah.
outsourcing that oftentimes we feel like you got to be superwoman. That you got to,
Yes.
do it all, do all the pieces, stay up all night doing things, wake up early in the morning, skip lunch and dinner because you got to do it all.
Well, doing it that way is the first route to being inconsistent.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
that, if I push the newsletter out on Fridays, that first time I have to do an all-nighter on Thursday, that's
Mhm.
when it starts to become inconsistent and unsustainable. So Adrienne just keeps me on track. So throughout the week, I know that there's going to be new tools that are discovered. And on Friday, I just include those. And it's not an arduous process. I can make it happen every Friday. So, and eventually I'll probably outsource that piece of it. Right now I'm close to it just because I want to see
Right.
what's important to the community, but eventually I could probably outsource that part of it too.
What's really interesting, and you mentioned this earlier, that you have a 30% open rate on emails.
Yes.
And so, like, I
Yes.
think like industry average is 20 some percent, not even.
Yep.
So,
And part of that, again, it's my focus.
right,
I've
being
been
tight,
focused
keeping it
on
simple.
keeping it simple. What are people doing to grow their email list? And so I joined a group of folks on Facebook who are talking about emails. It's the nerdiest group ever because we talk about open rates and things like that are highly uninteresting. But now they've become very interesting to me. And we try
Mhm.
different techniques, and I do A/B testing. And I've learned a few tricks. Pro tip: if you send a newsletter on Friday, on Monday morning, resend that newsletter to people who haven't opened the newsletter, and you will get a third more traffic.
You
Pro
all
tip.
heard it here. You all heard it here. There you go.
An easy, simple thing that had I
Breaking
not
news.
engaged with other it's breaking news.
Breaking,
Breaking news.
breaking news.
But had I
But
not gotten involved in that community, I would have never figured that out.
mm,
I would have thought, oh, that's sending too much email. And I don't even know technically if that's possible, but it's possible.
I mean, I don't think I've had anyone say, Keita, don't ever send me another email.
You know what? And if they do, they can unsubscribe. And I do get my feelings hurt, actually.
Well, I look and see who unsubscribes to my newsletter, and a couple times it's been like friends. Well, don't text me either. You can't read this email. Don't you text me with your foolishness. So
But I have an answer for that. You know, to keep myself positive, because I'm the kind of person, I'll do a training class, we get the feedback, that one person gives
that
negative
one
feedback,
person.
And you obsess for a year on that bit of feedback, right? So when that one friend unsubscribes from the newsletter, I figure, oh, it's because they're using a different Gmail address.
Okay, so they changed email addresses,
Yes.
and I just need to update my database. That's all. I like
That's
that
it.
one better than never speak to me again. You're dead to me.
You're dead to me. You are dead to me.
You unsubscribe to my newsletter. You are dead to me. Okay.
And if you think I don't know all 1,400 subscribers, I do.
Like, and if you think I don't look to see who opened it,
I do.
So this is an example of how you can get carried away. That like we got to tighten that up. We can't spend 35 minutes looking at who opened the newsletter. So productivity hack. I want to switch gears a little bit. I don't know if you noticed, it's been like a pandemic and the world is changing, and we've had civil unrest, and as of 3 weeks ago, racism in America exists. So with all that's rapidly changing around us, how has that impacted your goals and your productivity?
So couple of things, just productivity wise, the energy that you allow into your space impacts you. So you sit for a moment with a George Floyd video. For me, that means I'm probably not going to be productive all day long, because that is where my thoughts are going to be. And so I have to be very careful about engaging with news outlets. And I love Twitter, but I have to go on funny Twitter and not on news Twitter if I want to be productive. On the other hand, I can't shut it out. I am, journalism major, politics, all of this is my jam, so I have to make room for it. And so, productivity wise, I have to pay attention to, is this bringing me down? Is this slowing me down? Do I need to go and sit somewhere and sit with my thoughts or take a walk? That's important, and I think it's important to honor that. Do I need to write a post about what is happening and get some thoughts off my mind? Whatever you need to do, I think you have to acknowledge that and do that. You can't just ignore it, but you can't let it in all the time. And just from the directions that I've been taking, COVID slowed my day job down quite a bit. Training and in-person training in particular is waning. But these last few weeks, the events of these last few weeks have really increased the number of people who are suddenly interested in my perspective around, what is the problem? Why aren't we hiring more African Americans? What can we do? And so that for me means I have to stop, think, reshift. It is actually, I think it's a crossroads in my career. It's time for me to really think about how I'm contributing, how I'm giving back. And so I'm in the midst of that process right now.
And I'm going to kick your butt on that too.
I know you will.
Well, I think that you've said so much in just a little window of time. And so I just want to acknowledge that be gentle with yourselves, that if 2020, wow, I could not have written this. I'm not that great of a screenwriter that I could have formulated any of this. Zombies are next. But anyway,
murder hornets and then
murder hornets. I could not have dreamt this year up in terms of the shifting priorities, the like we're naked as a country
Yeah.
and globally when it comes to healthcare, to economics, whatever, how fancy I want to be. When we're talking about the conversation of systemic racism, we are naked. We cannot not talk about it, right? But I also
America's
found,
in a position that it's never been in. Like
right,
we are like exposed. Yeah.
and we have to do something different.
Yeah.
We
We
have to
have
do
to do
something
something
different.
different.
And so, like, I
So
totally agree. Being really mindful of what I'm consuming, how much time I'm, um, because I toiled about, well, what is my position and how do I show up for this and what role do I play?
mhm,
And stay
that's
tuned
it.
because Mama always got something in the works. So stay tuned. There's more coming on that. Stay tuned.
Oh,
Stay
you know
tuned.
I will be
I
there.
can't spoil it. I can't spoil it. Get ready. Um, but but in terms of just like there was a certain point where I have to not look at Twitter. I have to not watch
Mhm.
CNN. I have to just focus on my work and how I show up and how I can serve, and that in my little world I can have a profound impact on people and encourage them to move from fear to action. And I think
That's it.
that's my
Yeah.
life's work. That's my calling. And so that part hasn't changed regardless of what's going on in the world.
And
Like
I'm pretty
that.
sure like me, like you've got people reaching out to you saying, "Hey, Keita, help me understand what's going on."
Oh yeah, yeah, I did get a lot of inbounds. Yeah. And I did one podcast.
Hmm.
Said everything I had to say about it. And like I'm fielding those at my leisure and not
Same
prioritizing
here.
them. And so when I
Same here.
feel
It is
the space to address it, that's how I'm fielding those questions. So,
because it takes a lot of energy.
and it's
It's
never
not
just
just
one
a
question.
small amount of
Never just one question. It's a lot of follow up. Oh no, you're frozen. Come on, internet, let us be great. Okay, so I will do when you unfreeze, we'll come back to that. Oh no, Carmen. Oh, internet. Okay, you're back. Okay, we froze, we lost you. I was like, not now. Not now, Zoom. Not now.
not now.
I got like
Not
two
now.
more questions. I got two no, I actually got five. So let me not lie. Uh, so like now that we like how are you doing in the new normal? Like what does your day-to-day look like now?
So it was interesting. So when this all started back, at the end of February, we just started a kitchen renovation. Wrong time to do that. So part of this, I have lived without a kitchen, so that's been all crazy and
Okay.
hard to have a routine when you don't have, all your things that you need to make coffee, even right.
Mm,
So,
mm.
um, and one of the things that I've learned from you is that I need that routine, and so now it is done or almost done, and I am back on my routine and just trying. I've also been addressing some health issues, just dietary needs. Just wanted to change that up, and find myself just being very thrilled these days at these very small things like being able to have coffee and toast at the appointed time.
Oh, very exciting.
It's
That's very exciting.
yeah, right. It is very exciting, but those little things in this time are very important. Connecting with family and friends, very important. You know what I love? That what I've seen an increase, and I'm not particularly good at this, but I love
Mhm.
it when it happens to me. People who make random phone calls to say hello.
Oh my goodness, I've been doing that. I have been picking up the phone just like, hey,
Yes,
I know everybody's texting you, but I just want to say hi.
I'm calling. Yes. And those conversations can go on for a while. They can be very short. Either way, it's really just a brightening in the day just to hear from folks, just to say hello. So I appreciate that, even though I'm not really good at doing it all the time. But I've done it a couple of times, and it's been well
Yeah.
received. It's good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like someone was like, oh this is how we're using the phone? I was like, yes, this is how we're using the phone as a phone.
Imagine that.
Imagine what it was intended for.
That's it. Trying to keep up my walks. That is, it's like once I get stuck in this chair, at my computer, it's sometimes I'll look up and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's 5 o'clock. I meant to get up at 3 and take a walk, and I didn't. But I'm trying to make sure that I mix that into my routine as well. And when I do that, that's my time to listen to podcasts and music, and it's actually something I look forward to. I just don't always schedule for it, and I really do need to schedule and hold that schedule.
I've been hitting the walk first thing.
You are good about that. You are
Because
very good about that.
I've been trying to protect my Keita space in terms of like, making sure I have my prayer meditation time, that I at least get, 2.5 miles in the morning. Because I may sit down and be buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Because that's what it looks like to run a coaching practice. That's what it looks like. You're literally buy, sell. Anyway, uh, if I don't do that first, the day could take me in so many different directions that I may not get it
It
in.
does.
So I've been like, I may take half of my calls in my gym clothes after I've done said walk. But like, I've been trying to do that first. Otherwise, I'll look up and it's 6 o'clock. And now I'm like, there's going to be too many people in the park. So, yeah, very exciting.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so we've had an ongoing conversation about our shifting beauty regimens now that now that we've been living in isolation. So what are some of your favorite self beauty regimen or new things that you learned how to do in isolation?
So the first issue, and this is for Black women everywhere, all of you who are tuned into this call. Hair is always an issue, right? Hair is always the thing. We could talk for 5 hours if we wanted to about hair. So as this started happening and I realized I am not going to have access to anyone who can do my hair, and I'm horrible at doing my own, I'm going to have to figure out some new things. So the first thing I figured out was the wig route. And I found one that I just tried on Amazon for $30. And if you had a really fuzzy Zoom connection, it was good. It was fine. And then I moved to like, okay, I'm going to custom wig maker, 100% human hair, blah, 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 baby hairs, all kinds of things. And so I did that route and actually had a wig named after me.
There's a Carmen wig. I need a photo. We need a screen share. If we could screen share right now.
I will put it in the feed. I will put a link to it in the feed. I will share with you.
It had the built-in baby hair.
I actually texted my hairdresser and I said all kinds of things that have happened to me. And then finally it was just like, just cut it off. And so, my husband and I fighting with him with the clippers, not knowing what he's doing, but I actually like this. Like,
it looks amazing. I love it.
I mean, I had to do stuff, but you don't have to do all the things. And
No.
so that's my latest.
Yeah.
That's my latest, and I am excited, because I might be doing this for a while post-COVID.
Oh my goodness, it frees up so much time when you wear short like that, where you're like, wow, I really invested way too much time in my hair. I have the opposite problem in that, we're 3+ months in and I haven't had a haircut, so I'm looking like a French poodle, and
Look great.
trying to pin it back and putting stuff in it. And I had a t-shirt on it earlier. Are y'all familiar with plopping? That's where you put a t-shirt on to soak up the water. So I was walking around with a t-shirt on my head up until about 10 minutes ago, or more like 30 minutes ago. That's what was going on. But there's been learnings, because now I have more hair than I had going into this, so I'm watching YouTube videos now on how to tame it all. So, but I also feel like this comes back to that we can't feign ignorance about anything. If you really want to learn how to do something, there are so many resources on the interwebs. Like I learned how to bake bread from scratch. I learned about plopping. There are any number of things. There's so many ways that you can educate yourself, or if there's really something that you want to stretch and grow in, you can start with a simple Google search. You have to willfully decide you don't want to do something, or you don't want to know about it, right? So
I watched the video. I watched a guy with his clippers, and I'm like, I think we could do that.
Totally do that. We'll watch it 3 times. We got it. That's what I did with the bread. I was like, 3 times. I'll get it on the 3rd.
I'll put it like this. You only see the front of me. You don't see the back, so it's all good.
It'll grow back anyway.
You know what? Just call me Patches. Just call me Patches.
Just brush it a little bit, move it around a little bit. You'll be fine. But it looks great. I think it's very flattering for your face. I love the earrings. I love the little kiss of lipstick. You look fabulous. So
There you go. I had to dress up for this. I had to dress up for
and
this.
I'm so
Yes.
glad. I went full meow on you. This
Yes.
was my commitment to our call
I
was
love
going
it.
full meow. So I'm
I love
landing the
it.
plane now. We're gonna wrap it on up here. So, what's your advice for our community of goal getters in the 5 days of focus? What is one thing that you want them to take away and put into action now that we're getting ready to land the plane? What's the one thing you want them to do?
It is literally one step at a time.
Hmm.
I have built this thing one step at a time. And you and I know through our conversations, it is what are you going to achieve next week? And so I walk away from you and from our conversations with 2, 3, 5 things that I know that I have committed to you to doing. And so I look at that list every day. Is there something there that I can click off that list? Now, despite having that list, there are 100 other things that will happen throughout the week that you have to do. That's
Hmm.
what my learning is. But having that, you know what, I have this goal that I want to achieve. I've got to do at least one thing today to make sure
Hmm.
that I'm contributing to that. And often once you get started, you get a couple of things cleared off or you come up with new ideas, but you got to put that time in every single day. You can't let it go. You can't let it
Hmm.
wait for a week or 2 weeks
Yep.
because then you lose the momentum.
Yep. It's definitely easier to maintain momentum than to start and stop, start and stop, start and stop.
That's
And
it.
I tell my clients that are side hustlers. Excuse me, I just burped in the middle of the. I tell my clients that are side hustlers. I hope y'all did not hear that. That are side hustlers. 30 minutes a day. Commit to
Mhm.
30 minutes a day every day, and you'll find that when you sit down to do your 30, that may turn into 90. But you can
Yep.
build your side hustle. You can build your empire in 30 minutes a day. It's a consistent
Absolutely.
30 minutes a day. It's not 30 minutes on Monday and then not another 30 minutes for 3 weeks. It's 30 minutes a day. All right. Last question. Last question.
Okay.
Now we
All right.
you teased it a little bit and you can continue to tease us a little bit with it. But what's next for you?
What's next for me is really taking the events that are currently happening and integrating that more into my career. It is time to do that. I've had some thoughts about it for quite some time, and I am on the brink of really, diving into it. I think I have identified a partner, and we're both excited about this. And so, again, with your advice, I am thinking carefully about, is this the next step in my life? And how do I get there? How does this change my life? What does this mean? Where will my focus have to shift? And so I'm spending some time. I'm in week 2 of 2 weeks that I've given myself to really commit to this idea or not, and to write my thoughts down. And it's a really great approach. So appreciate that guidance, because you know me, I get excited and I just want to go go go,
Hmm.
and then something else interferes, and then there's stop start. I want to commit to it and then be willing and ready to move.
I'm so excited because I have the inside track. I got the inside track,
Uh-huh.
so I won't spoil it
Uh-huh.
because it's your
Oh,
announcement to make.
once we have some more solid foundation to this, I am ready to talk about it. But
It is your announcement to
yeah.
make, but I am so excited for you, and I'm so excited for the next step. I just want to reiterate what Carmen shared with each one of us. It's one day at a time. It's consistent, small steps. So I'm just scanning the comments to make sure there were no questions. I can't see them. All right. So I'm going to assume nobody had any questions. Oh, yeah. 30 minutes a day. Yes, Tina, I'm looking you dead in your ocular nerve. Yes. One step at a time. All right. So with that, thank you for joining me on in the 5 days of focus. I think we're calling this a show. Five
It's a
days of
show.
focus
It's a show.
show because I'm gonna do it again.
I
Uh,
can't wait. This is great.
it's
I love just seeing what all the people are doing and what people are focusing on and what they're building. It's fun for me to watch. So I'm in the wings watching.
awesome. So I will put a link to Recruiter Hunt in the comments. We'll probably do a watch party for folks that couldn't make it live. But thank you so much for joining me, Carmen. My heart is so full. Thank you for believing in me in this journey and in the success bully empire that I'm building. Thank you for
Thank you
being
for
such a
helping me. Thank you for your help. Like from the bottom of my heart, I have gratitude and making me laugh.
oh yeah, we
Making
always
me
have a
laugh
spirit.
at least 3 or 4 times a week. Yes.
Spirited calls, text messages, and tweets. You know,
Yes.
yeah, I go back to Twitter. I tweeted Snuffleupagus at you to show you my eyelashes, but like,
Okay.
she
All right.
must be
Well, I'll
real
see
busy.
you
She
at the
didn't see
FedEx
it.
Kinkos.
Oh yeah,
I will see you at the FedEx Kinkos
in due course. In due course. It was
in
a
due course.
pleasure. Thank you, Carmen. I'm going to close out the show. Everyone, thank you for joining us for this 5 Days of Focus Live. Once again, I'm Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Success Bully. We will continue to bring amazing programming like this. Look for our next 5 Days of Focus sprint that starts August 3rd through the 7th. We'll be walking you through getting focused for the latter part of the year. And we're excited to continue to partner with you and help you achieve your big, hairy, audacious goals this year. So let's get after it. Take care, y'all.